Hey guys, what's up? Mouse here again for another Guild Boss video. So you guys have seen my post on Charlotte reaching 3.2 billion and Harper at almost 1.4 billion, with the full team reaching 9.7 billion, which is already as high as my previous high score using the more conventional lineup. This actually should have been 10 billion, but unfortunately, I messed up the last 10 seconds. I'm gonna show you the replay as well later and then give you some tips on how to run this particular lineup. And I'm gonna discuss the strategy as well as the artifacts. And I'm gonna show you all the stats, of course. So this is something I actually only did for fun because I got bored with the meta lineups and I feel like it's time to explore the other lineups that could potentially benefit from the recent updates, especially the changes in the artifacts. And really just to make use of whatever we have and whatever we paid for. I'm gonna test the other units as well, but this would be it for now, the dark team. And this may or may not be useful in the next patch since we're getting a new unit again very soon. But since we enjoy experimenting with a lot of things, trying to improve and enjoy the game, you might want to know more about this as well, because who knows, might be useful in the future. So I spent a lot of resources here as well again, and spent a lot of time on this as well, trying to get it right. And I believe I did get it right. At least was able to get same scores, potentially higher score than the previous lineup that I'm using, which I already shared. I think this is a very high ceiling, but also very expensive to build. I actually had to use some artifacts from Thomas Andre, for example, which led to his damage being less than what it should be. So I would say if I had all the right artifacts with the right stats as I should have, I think this lineup has a really much higher potential. One problem though is a bit more difficult to play. You gotta use manual ultimates, but for me I think it's more fun overall. So I still use the support strategy, but it might work on DPS or hybrid build as well. I'm not sure about that because I haven't tried that. And the reason is that you're gonna get a bit of dark damage increase buff as well from Harper's weapon if you got it to A5. I'll leave the testing to you guys because I still don't have the legendary magnifying slashes and I still don't have the legendary vacuum wave. So yeah, once you try it, just do let us know if you are able to get good results. And before we proceed guys, just real quick, shout out to all our supporters in the Netmarble Content Creator program. Thank you so much again, especially to our top 10 supporters here. Thanks so much again, Mr. Bombastic, Hitsun TFR, King Kong, Sleepy, God Level, Debringer, and some NIDs here. If you guys want, you can also change your nicknames. And to those of you guys who haven't supported me yet, just in case your support is still free, feel free to support me here. It's free. It's gonna help me a lot to continue doing what we're doing. Thank you so much, and don't forget to press that like button as well and subscribe in my channel if you want to stay up to date with things that I do, the latest strats or tactics or other relevant stuff that you might need. And we still have thousands of free codes available. I'm gonna send them to new supporters as well. I do send them every day, every few hours. Alright, so let's begin. So this is the lineup that we're using. Again, just like always, we're gonna run through this, go over this one by one, and I'm gonna discuss the entire thing to you, show you the artifacts and the builds as well. But for some of these, let's just make this quick. Jinwoo still support build because this is pretty much the only thing that I can do right now. As you can see, I still don't have the legendary magnifying slashes and even the legendary vacuum wave. So once I get that, I think I'm gonna get really much higher scores. Please, Netmarble, just give them to me, and please don't give me all this shit. Ever since the patch wherein they added the new QTEs, I've always been getting all of these. Oh my goodness. Anyway, that's RNG, that's gacha, so can't do anything about that. Artifacts here, and then of course here. Alright, so let's go to the changes in the lineup. And for our support, Isla Wright. Actually, I haven't built her properly yet, but it's quite decent. The crit rate is still at 5k. We still need to over crit her to at least like 7 to 8k. Crit damage is 182%. We've got some good amount of defense penetration and damage increase as well. Although for this one, ideally, I would probably want like 40k-ish amount of damage increase, which we still don't have right now because, again, this test or this lineup was just for fun. it just turned out well and probably even has greater potential than the current lineups that we are using right now. And then skill levels just here. And I'm also using Guardian plus the Sylph's Blessing here. So I'm not sure if she can use Blessing set, but I don't want to change Jinu's gears anymore. So far, this thing works. There you go. So just the stats real quick. And I actually forgot to put something here. I think I was using this one just to kind of increase the damage. So it's not so bad at 30k, but I would want more. You want to always be able to cast death, and at A5 you're gonna get this. This is the most important thing here. Increase damage by 0.2% for every 1% reduction to the target's HP, stacking up to 16%. It's something that you could also master and be able to take advantage of. If you can use this all the time with lower HP percentage, then that's gonna be great. And then you can time Charlotte and Harper's ultimate. So that's pretty much for Isla. I think really just the main problem here is being able to cast death all the time if you're gonna go for the manual ultimate. Next one will be Harper. It's gonna be Harper, and look at that, guys. That's an A10 Harper weapon. So I actually just I dismantled or salvaged a few weapons again from the armory, although I would change them also. Of course, there was a replacement, so I actually just added this just because I want to really see the full potential of the team with proper builds. When I first tried this, I really felt that this is something that's gonna be legit or viable for the guild boss. So right now, as you can see, the stats also is quite good. We have HP at 61.7k, crit rate 9k, crit damage 194%, defense penetration, damage increase here, and dark damage. So, and then the skill levels, actually what I did here is I reset Alicia, who got level 10 here and level 10 ult, so that I can level up Harper's second skill as well. So here, most important thing, second skill and the ultimate. I'm now using 4-piece grid and 4-piece obsidian. So yep, it's actually now possible for Harper to be able to deal like a good amount of DPS. And for the course, you got this. There you go. So just a few things here on what Harper brings to the table. Increases the team members' damage, dark damage by 12% for 30 seconds whenever she uses her ultimate. And with Isla support, she can pretty much do that all the time and keep it running all the time. And apart from that, she also casts the debuff, of course, that increases the ultimate skill damage taken from Dark Hunters. Finally, for our Charlotte, she is currently using Thomas Andre's main sets of gears. And here's the stats: 35.7k defense, and if I upgrade her, I'm gonna be able to get to that 36k defense, but I'm not gonna do that yet because we might need this for someone else in the future. Crit rate 8.6, enough. Crit damage, need more. Defense penetration, damage increase, and probably need more on the defense penetration side, but that's okay. Dark damage increase here. And skill levels, most important, ultimate, second skill. And I just added this, just hoping to get more damage to reach 10B. And here's the set. This is Thomas Andre's gears, except for the accessories, of course. So for the course, and then we have here Team B, Angel in White now on Hansemi. The reason we can use Angel in White here is that there's no unit to buff here on Team B. We added Deborah here, and they're pretty much like support debuffers that can deal a bit of damage. So that's why instead of using the usual noble sacrifice that I'm using here, I just use the Angel in White to buff the highest TP. So for Choi, here's the stats: 30.1k attack, damage increase, and defense penetration. Really good amount. And then skills 10, 7 for this, and then Guardian plus Obsidian set here, and then we got here a full fire course. For Libora, okay, so this is pretty much like the stats that I'm looking for on Libora. Crit rate 11k, crit damage around 16k. Maybe I can add a bit more here. Defense penetration damage increase is good. Dark damage here. And then skills 10, 10, 10. And then I'm still using 2-piece curse and 2-piece toughness. For the cores, Charlotte actually had to borrow Libor's core, so that kind of affected her damage output as well. I think that's fine though. If there's any difference, probably 10m, 20m damage, that's okay. So this Team B really just works as a debuffer with a bit of damage. So now for Team C, the problem with this lineup here is that we lost some really good buff from Maylin in exchange for Cha's damage, which is about 1 billion or so, plus her damage contribution using the branded debuff, which increases the crit rate and crit damage received by the target. And I feel like there might be a chance that in the next patch we might be able to remove Cha, because in this lineup, actually the biggest factor here with Chae-in's branded debuff is the critical hit rate. And with Team C, we actually don't need that much crit rate because these units have a lot of like passive crit rates on their main skill. But for Gogun Hee and Thomas Andre, they definitely need the crit rate. If the next unit will be a support that can really increase Thomas Andre's damage as well as Gogun Hee's damage, then we might be able to replace Chae-in here. So I'm not sure yet if that is gonna be the case. Chae-in right now has a 34.5k attack and crit rate is okay, that's enough. Crit damage, defense penetration damage increase, and light damage here, and skill levels, there you go, and the artifacts as well here. So ideally we really want to improve Gogun Hee's damage and Thomas Andre's damage, but I still couldn't find any way to do that. I also tried to remove Hansemi, but the problem was I don't have enough like MP to be able to sustain above 40% for the obsidian accessories to work. There might be specialized builds, but not gonna be worth pursuing, like having insane amounts of MP reduction and MP recovery rate increase. The stats of my GGH right here is just, it's good with grid set, crit damage and defense penetration damage increase, and light damage here. Skills, and then there you go. The problem is that I am not able to use obsidian set, not only because I don't have really good ones. I have decent ones, but still not enough to be able to compensate what the 8-piece grid set will be able to offer to the team, because right here we are using 3 DPS capable unit. So normally we want to use obsidian set here if we have a buffer, because then the grid set is gonna buff only 1 unit. You can use grid set because if you use grid set, you're gonna be able to buff more units than just 1 unit dealing damage with that crit rate and crit damage. So for Thomas Andre, his damage is quite low because I don't have proper artifact. And the reason why I said this team setup has high potential is because I know for a fact that my Thomas Andres right now, the stats I'm using here, but very much lower than what I used to use on him. So for crit rate, this is kind of very high at 11k, but that's fine. Don't have choice. Crit damage, defense penetration damage increase here. So if you compare the stats here from my previous video, I think that was like 34.6k, close to 35k defense, and we've got like 180 plus crit damage and high damage increase and a bit higher defense penetration, if I remember correctly. At least this one I would say can still improve like 10-15% overall damage output on Thomas Andre, which I believe would get me like closer, or would be able to help me easily get that 10 billion score with this team setup. These are Marmonges right here because I don't have curse sets anymore, and I don't have to give him the highest total power because I'm giving that to Charlotte. And next, here are the cores. There you go. So yeah, that's gonna be it for the overall setup. And now let's move on to the replay and the gameplay part. Alright guys, so here's the replay of the run, and I actually already discussed how to use Charlotte in the guild boss before. So I'll just add some things here that I only recently discovered, or I discovered after that video. So everything is still pretty standard when it comes to the rotation, the gameplay, and you kind of want to always hit Charlotte's ultimate along with the Moon Shadow or the Shadow Step debuff. So that's still what we are doing here. As you can see, Charlotte's ultimate activated. We use it and we use Moon Shadow afterwards, and we also have Isla Wright's ultimate with the death. Sometimes it's just RNG, like you really have to be skilled and you really have to have really good vision of all things happening. In order to do this, sometimes you're gonna notice that Isla Wright just casted the tower. That means she just casted her second skill, which is the one that you need to be able to cast Arcana Death. There will be times that you're gonna see that she just casted the star. Don't press the ultimate. Just wait for the tower, or just wait like a few seconds, because what usually happens is that she's always gonna cast the star before the tower. So the first skill before the second skill. So if you only recently saw the star and this huge AoE right here, then you just probably just have to wait like 2-3 seconds before casting the ult. If you already have a routine, then you probably already memorized the parts wherein she's gonna cast the death, but that's not gonna happen all the time, so you have to be careful. And also, as you may have noticed here, I immediately casted Charlotte's ultimate. I have improved this routine actually by casting all their ultimates all at the same time. Isla first, and then wait for Harper's ultimate to go up so that you can get that dark damage buff, and then Charlotte's more stacks on her ultimate as well without affecting the cooldown. That's what you can do here. Wait for Harper to have the ult ready, press Charlotte, and then press the Moon Shadow. So that's gonna give you like the proper timing on their ult. As you can see here, we're gonna deal a good amount of damage. 67 million each on, like 67 and 63 million each just on Harper. Like, just look at that damage, guys. It's crazy. We still have death here, so that's kind of a good timing as well. Get the extreme evasion there, and here we will use Charlotte's ultimate again with the Moon Shadow, now with 3 stacks, and we also have the tower there. Safe to cast, safe to cast Isla's ultimate for death, and just to secure that we have the blessing set ready. And this is also the time when the boss is gonna fly backwards, and that's gonna be the roar, because in this case, if you want to get a higher damage, you're gonna have to secure the boss's attack patterns and make sure that he doesn't do that roar. If he does that and you haven't refreshed the Shadow Step yet, then you're gonna miss out on a lot of DPS. So as you can see, the boss pattern got reset, and he did that mechanics again. Harper's ultimate is already up. I clicked it early. I shouldn't have activated it early because Isla Wright's ultimate is actually almost up. I should have waited it for extra damage, but that's fine. And I just timed it with the Shadow Step there. There you go. That's just 50 million. As we proceed here, casted Charlotte's ultimate, and exactly the timing on the death ultimate with Isla and Shadow Step, or I mean Moon Shadow. Boom. Let's just see how much damage I was able to do that. Look, roughly like 75 million each. So that's about 300 million damage, ultimate damage. And if we're able to do that with Harper's ultimate here, we can probably get a bit more damage out of that. But it's hard to make the perfect run because we have to monitor a lot of things here. So usually, just to add to this, usually when it flies backwards, then the next mechanics will be the roar. So this is what you kind of want to avoid. Ideally, you want to wait for it to land before casting that Shadow Steps, because otherwise there's going to be a lot of downtime on the Shadow Steps. So you have two options when he does the roar. First option is to use the ultimate while he's doing that, and the second option is to use it right after. So when you do that while he's roaring, I think the mechanics is going to be different. He's going to do the swipe, probably, most likely. And if you do that once he goes down, it's going to run away, which will give you more shadow steps opportunity. And then just nudge that. That's going to start at around 1 minute 30 seconds if you don't reset the mechanics using the ult. The timing is going to be very, very crucial as well. And again, we did another ultimate with Charlotte. Probably we should have waited again. Those are the things, those are the tiny details that could have added more damage, but I didn't do that. But definitely, if we will be able to play this perfectly, then damage potential is really huge. But for this time, we got another ultimate from Charlotte. We delayed that a bit here, so we're gonna get another attempt with a full combination of death, with the ultimate of Harper, and with the ultimate of Charlotte. After that break state, you want to use the ultimate so that you can reset the mechanics as well. There you go. And then most likely the next will be a hand swipe, I think. I guess. Most likely. Yeah, that's it. So he does that those lines attack when kind of depends on the HP. Upon reaching a certain range, he's gonna do that lines attack mechanics instead of the one where he runs around. So there you go. Just a bit of timing there. And just to give you a few more tips, like I'm not sure if you're picking that up, you're gonna hear some kind of a metallic clanking sound like tick. That means Charlotte is already on her second basic attack, which means the next attack will be potentially be the one that will activate her ultimate. And you're gonna see the power gauge as well here. You're gonna see that purple one. So when you're playing Charlotte on Team C, it's actually possible to time the ultimate as well by using that sound, using her lines, like whenever she talks right after the ult, you can use the shadow step, or by monitoring the power gauge here. So those are the 3 cues that you can use to better know what she's already doing. So let me just repeat that once again. You hear that? The biggest mistake I did here in this run, aside from the inefficient ultimate casts here, is that the last 10 seconds, as you can see here, we already have the ultimate here. My mistake was that I didn't cast the ultimate and I got greedy, or I got nervous right here, because this was a good run. I know it's a good run. And then I immediately casted the 2 ultimates. What I should have done, which I believe would have been able to get me to 10B, or at least very, very close to 10B, is to cast the ultimate to reset the mechanics so that the boss will not do the roar, and the next attack pattern should have been an easy shadow step. But I did not do that. That's why we lost a lot of damage from the moon shadow, increased damage received, as well as the increased dark damage received here. So only got like 9.7 billion. Maybe it's not gonna be 10B, maybe 9.850 or 9.9 billion. I'm not sure, but those are 2 ultimates. Well, potentially, it's potentially gonna be 10 billion. But anyway, that's okay. Those things happen. So I think this lineup has a really, really high potential if played perfectly, but it's so expensive to build it right now with the obsidian sets, and it's also very, very hard to play. I don't think, well, some people might be able to do this on mobile, but it's very hard. Mobile is kind of laggy, the vision is limited, and of course I feel like it's just, you can just do much more with PC. Probably gonna stick on this depending on what's gonna be the next units, what it's gonna bring to the table, and the new artifact adjustments as well. I'm expecting that there are gonna be new artifacts and new artifact changes as well, maybe on the curse set. So we still don't know what's the meta gonna be, but at least for now, this is just gonna be like an extra option, or more information, or if you just want to play other units or other teams and just want to like experience that, if you want to challenge yourself, though this is just as good as the current meta lineups that we are using. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and see you on the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe on my channel. And again, guys, don't forget to support me in the SLA Content Creator Program. See ya!